Look, it's a very interesting fight. I don't think it's an easy one to pick. But Liam Smith stopped Eubank, and if he can, then there's no reason Conor Benn can't put the heat on Eubank. He already says he's going to knock him out. Um, but then Eubank looked really good against Smith. If Eubank's at his very best, it's a hard night for Conor Benn. But if Conor Benn's at his very best, it's a hard night for Chris Eubank. So it's one of those that I think. I don't know if I might be slightly leaning towards the younger man, slightly, and maybe last time I was leaning more towards Eubank. But it's yeah, the scales are there, aren't they? I think it's too difficult a fight to predict, certainly at this stage, until we see them nearer the time and how they're looking at the weight in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Steering away from that and towards Anthony Joshua. The name Deontay Wilder has been mentioned a number of times this week, linked with a fight with Anthony Joshua. It's a fight that I think we thought had gone. We weren't going to see that one, but with AJ's defeat to Daniel Dubois and the position that Wilder's in his career, do you believe that that fight very much could be back on? Do you believe there is the public interest still in that fight?
Well, it's firstly whether you believe Tyson Fury's retiring. I was with Frank Warren the other day, and I didn't mention it to him, but I look, if he is retiring, he's had an amazing career, and let's do it properly, right? Let's have a proper retirement, not just a 17-second Instagram post, right? That's why I am suspicious, as I normally am with Tyson when he says these sort of things. Let's have a proper thing like Lennox did. Let's book a London hotel or a Blackpool hotel or whatever he fancies, or on the Blackpool football pitch, and let's celebrate his career. It's been a phenomenal career. He's not just going to slip away into the sunset, I don't think. So I think if that fight, which I think is very much still there to be made this year, has got to be the favourite. That's the fight that the casuals want to see. We mentioned Eubank Ben, Fury Joshua is the fight people want to see. Again, I tore into Simon Jordan on Talksport the other day in a nice friendly way, but he said, "Who cares that Tyson's retired?" And I said, "Come on!" I said, "The sport's a better place at the moment with Tyson Fury, and he brings excitement, and we still want to see the Joshua fight, do we?" Well, yeah, we do, because it's two losers. Well, yeah, that's pretty harsh, right? The two of them have been the two heavyweights of our generation in Britain, and they've been fantastic, and they're polar opposites, and there's not been a lot of love. And imagine the build-up, and imagine stopping traffic at Wembley, and maybe one at Wembley and one in Saudi. I don't know. Why not? Why don't we try and do it this year? It's a lot of money for the fighters. It definitely sells. And the British public don't care. They both coming off defeats. I mean, Tyson's wasn't a bad defeat, and AJ's was, he got caught, and that's the end of it. I mean, I don't know. I like that fight. If they can't make that fight, then there's loads of other fights for AJ. He could fight Moses Itauma, he could fight Marcin Piccoli, he could fight Deontay Wilder, he could fight anyone. He could fight Dubois again, obviously in a rematch. He could fight Joe Parker again. There's Zhilai Zhang in China. There's so many fights he could have. I like the Piccoli fight in Africa. I think that's quite an interesting one. Deontay Wilder is a good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time, and I was pretty sure with my feelings when I saw him out in Saudi that I didn't think there was anything really left for Deontay. He looked to me as though he didn't really want to throw his punches properly. His legs looked as though they weren't quite what they were. Now, were they just a bad time he was going through? And only obviously Malik Scott and the team know what Deontay's like day to day. I'm not here to tell people to retire. I don't want fighters to go on too long, by the way, because I care about them. But I don't. I'm not there to tell them to retire. If they want another payday, they want another fight, they want to go for it again. Go for it again. So if Deontay Wilder wants to fight AJ, it's a huge fight. It was a huge fight a few years ago. We very nearly made it. Shelley Finkel was very clever, and he got the third Fury fight. It didn't happen, but it's a fight that will again electrify in the ring, and it will electrify the build up. So so would Dillian White and Deontay Wilder at this stage. So there's still big fights to make out there that are going to capture the imagination of the public, even if Tyson Fury does decide to call it a day. But I don't think he quite is yet. And for me, if I was AJ, I'd be trying to get that fight over the line.
Now, I think I know the answer to this one, but if you could have one New Year's resolution for boxing in 2025, I think we've just talked about it. What would that be, Adam?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd like to see Fury and Joshua, but it's probably not my top of my New Year's resolution lists. I think I want 2025 to be a growing year in boxing. I love the fact that Turkey Al-Sheikh has taken over the Ring magazine. I think it's great that we're bringing boxing around again. There's a buzz about it. I want to see young talent come through. I think there is a bit of a gap, with the AJ Fury sort of brigade and some of the best fighters. We've got Eubank and Benn. There's not too many other British domestic firecracker rivalries that we've got for this year, for example. So I think we need to really not just invest in grassroots, but we want to make sure, like, on Saturday I'm in Nottingham for Dalton Smith. Next week I'm in London for Adam Azim. The week after I'm with in Manchester for the Chisora night. I want to see a lot of good domestic shows. Friday, February the 7th as well, is Sheffield's GBM show, first show of the year, top with a really good European title fight. Shakan Pitters, very, very good opponent. And I think that's the sort of, we want good shows up and down the country. GBM have got big plans this year. I know about that. But others too. Matchroom have got big plans. Queensbury obviously finish off with TNT. They go to DAZN. They got big plans. I know that Cal and Nissa have big plans, both in Channel 5 and for Misfits. And I know that obviously boxing, you're seeing really big shows coming on. We've got Adam Azim next week. We've got the March the 7th, which is an absolute brilliant show for the women. So there's great stuff coming up. There's a lot of big shows. So my real wish is to continue the growth of boxing, and to see the young come through, get their opportunities, whether it's on the big Saudi stage that Turkey's providing, the opportunities of the big money and the big attention, or whether it's also in Britain building up to that and making sure that we look after these young fighters, Croller's brothers, say Junaid Boston, all these guys that are sort of coming through. Women's boxing needs a little bit of an injection again. I think March the 7th will help. I think another big, Katie Taylor or Amanda Serrano fight will help. Chantel Cameron as well. I'd like to see Sky Nicholson in another couple of big fights, and I'd like to see that develop this year as well. I think that's just flattened out slightly. So yeah, you know what I'm about, Josh. I'm all about boxers. I want to see boxers be looked after properly. I want to see them get well paid. That's why we're doing our business to help the communication side, because we think it's a key component in it. And I like to see, by the end of 2025, fighters have really sort of moved on. I think the heavyweight landscape's really, really fascinating. But yeah, I guess if you said, put a gun to my head and said, what's the one fight I want to happen this year? And I do want Martin Bakoli to get a world title shot. And I do want Oleksandr Usyk to fight Daniel Dubois again, or Moses Itauma, because Moses told me he wants Usyk ASAP. So I'm very, very excited about Itauma and very excited about those things. But if there's one thing that I think will help the sport of boxing with the casual fans and this whole new buzz, is Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua sharing a ring at Wembley this summer. I really do. I think it's one of those fights that just transcends boxing. It takes us into football. It takes us into the wider audience. Everyone's going to want to be involved, be there, be around it, feel it, and no one knows who's going to win. So that's a fight I'd like to see, and I've been very close to seeing that two or three times in my Sky career. I remember one time I was with AJ and I had Tyson on the phone, and the fighters wanted it so much, and it never happened. The fans still want it, I think. Maybe not our hardcore fans, but the fans still want it, the sports fans. And I think the fighters still want it. So, and Turkey wants it. So, come on, let's get it on. Fury Joshua, Joshua Fury, double it up this year. And then it's done. Then they can ride off into the sunset. We can still have them involved in sport. They can inspire the next generation. We'll see where the heavyweights are at that point. Where's Dubois? Where's Itauma? Zhilai Zhang? Has Big Bakoli got his opportunity? That's when the next level comes. But Simon Jordan, we're not ready for that yet. We need that this year to see this fight. Otherwise, we're going to be looking back in 5-10 years' time with that. Oh, they never fought. What a shame. Why? Carl Brook was too late, granted, but at least it happened. This isn't too late. Joshua's not old, and Fury's coming off, I think, two very good performances against Usyk. They're not has-beens. They're not being retired for 3 years. They're coming back. Make the fight now.